Hello and welcome to Commodity Champions. I'm Manisha Gupta. Well, the superfoods market has been on a rise over the past few years as consumers turn more and more towards health consciousness. Well, the brands are diversifying their product portfolio to cater to the growing demand. They're incorporating superfoods into powders, bars, snacks, beverages, and a lot more. As per Mador Intelligence, the global market for superfoods is set to rise to $328 billion by the year 2030. The estimates also suggest that in India, the market could grow to $12.5 billion by 2033. But what are superfoods? Are they the foods that have very high density of nutrients, including vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants? They're also known to confer several health benefits and have very few calories. Some well-known superfoods include Makhanas, amla, turmeric, seeds like flax, chia, and pumpkin, and sunflower, and almonds and walnuts, and the list goes on. To discuss the outlook on superfoods, joining us on the show is Rishab Jain. He's founder, Mr. Makhana, and Gunjan Jain is President, Nuts and Dry Fruit Council, India. Mr. Jain is also the MD of VKC Nuts, the company behind the Nutraj brand. Gentlemen, hi. Thank you so much for joining in. It is such a growing market right now, and the kind of numbers that we are working with in the Indian markets and global have continued to grow in last 4 or 5 years. Gunjan, this one is to you. So what's your sense on where the market stands right now, the kind of demand growth that we are seeing, and what's your sense going forward from here?
Very good afternoon, Manisha, and thank you for covering our superfoods, nuts and dried fruits and seeds, which are called nature's medicine pills. Uh, Nuts and seeds, superfoods, I think everything's growing. I'll start with seeds. Ever post COVID, I think the awareness on health has led and immunity has led to such a huge rise. Just to give you some context, pumpkin seeds India was consuming about 400 tons of pumpkin seeds 4 years ago. And in 4 years, this has gone a whopping 20 times from 400 tons. This year, India would consume somewhere around 8,000 tons of pumpkin seeds. So that's the kind of growth that these superfoods are seeing. Same for chia seeds. India was consuming 1,000 tons 4 years ago, and this year India will consume 4,000 tons of chia seeds. India has also become a very large producer of chia seeds. The crop has grown from 6,000 tons to 16,000 tons. We do export a lot of that. And I think the story goes on for sunflower, for flax, for walnuts, 18,000 to 90,000 tons. So we're just seeing a huge rise in demand for all these things.
Yeah, and it's not even easy priced, is it, Gunjan?
Price, yes. I mean, price has been up and down. That's what, it is there. These are commodities. Now, world over, the demand is growing for these things because of health factors. So we've seen rise, but it's not very expensive still. I mean, they're still well within range. Other than Makhana that Rishab would talk about, I think everything else has remained quite in range in terms of pricing. Still very affordable compared to the health benefits. Much lower average about 500 rupees a kg on retail, so quite affordable still.
All right, we'll take your word for that. Well, absolutely. When it comes to Makhana, Rishabh, it says from Modi ji to Madonna eats Makhana. I mean, that's the kind of rage that we've seen come in for Makhana. 10 years ago, it wasn't such a superfood, but it has really gained popularity, I would say more so in last 4 or 5 years. From where we stand right now, what is the kind of demand growth that you have seen?
Thank you, Manisha. Thank you for having me. So, as we all know, Makhana is the new hot commodity in the health food sector in India, and we've been at it since 2017. So, when I started the business, it was the Makhana prices were somewhere around 300 rupees a kilo. And if we are talking about today, it's almost touching 1,400 to 1,500 rupees a kilo, and it's a very seasonal product. And the reason why there's such a variation in such pricing is because uh, the whole sector at the farming level needs to be a little organized, and a little bit of technology needs to be incorporated in terms of how we can cultivate and actually make full use of the output of the seeds. So there are a lot of what do you call those holes?
Loopholes.
Loopholes. And loopholes and then bottlenecks. So
Hmm.
one the seed is a bottleneck, and then after the seed is done, then processing the seed is another bottleneck, and then to pop the makhana is another bottleneck. So everything has been done manually right now. So it's a very labor intensive job. I'm guessing in the next few years, and machines are coming up, but the success rate is not that high. But slowly, we are seeing some increase and some technological advancement in the particular sector.
Rishabh, when you say the prices were 300 rupees a kg at one time, when was this? What year was this?
This was 2017.
And it has been a gradual increase in prices since then?
Yeah, so it from 300 the next year in 2018 because of massive floods in Bihar, the Makhana touched 1,000 rupees for a few months. Then it came down back again. And then as and when it got a little popular in the market, we hadn't seen Makhana in retail shelves. So when and as and when people started seeing retail and then people started getting to know about the product and the benefits, a lot of people start stocking it. So the demand really went up. And one thing that's been really surprising is that even though the prices are at the top level at the moment, the demand hasn't slowed down. So that's a good indicator for us to be there in this market. And this product's got serious potential.
Well, are you saying that the prices are at an all-time high right now? 1400 is as high as it gets?
Yeah. I mean, it is, and we don't know what might happen later. I mean, but we're guessing this year, as we can see in 2021, we were somewhere around 15,000 hectares of farming, which roughly translate to around 30,000 tons of makhana. All of it is not used. A lot of it is wasted. So this in 2025, we are expecting somewhere around 70,000 tons. And we are hopeful that the prices will do correct a little bit, but again, demand is again surging a lot. So not a lot, but a bit.
Oh, it's very, very huge numbers. One more thing on Makhanas, and as you said, the demand has been on the higher side. Is it just India, or are we also exporting Makhana because we are the largest producers, perhaps the only producers?
Exactly. So we produce 95% of the world of the makhana that's there out in the world, and we should be proud of it that it's a particularly Indian product that's going out of the world. So a lot of exports happening. A majority of them is being exported, and from what I see in the past 5, 6 years is that a lot of people who've come from Bihar to work in metros like Bangalore, Delhi, or somewhere else, they're all leaving their jobs and they're going back and they're saying, and I asked them, what are you going to go back? It's like, now we have land over there. So we're going to dig up and we're going to put makhana seeds, and these are the guys just killing it. So it's something fascinating to see what's happening in this particular sector.
Rishabh, also interesting to know would be on what is the percentage really? How much does India consume of what we produce and how much is exported?
So majority of makhana has been consumed in India. So I would roughly say around 30 to 35% is being exported now. 65 percentage is something that we're consuming at the moment, and international demand is increasing day by day.
Another commodity where the prices really have run up, Gunjan, has been saffron. With what with India, Pakistan trade and Afghanistan, saffron stopped coming in via Pakistan, that is. We did see that knee-jerk reaction come in for the saffron prices also. Again, something that India, Middle East, Asia uses a lot. How would you look at the overall market right now and the prices therein?
So overall, India is among the very, very large consumers of saffron. And although we have our own crop in Kashmir, but that's much smaller than Indian demand. So India does buy a lot from Iran and Afghanistan, majorly from Afghanistan. And yes, after the closure of border, there was a knee-jerk reaction. But luckily for saffron, because it's so expensive, it's about 1.5 lakhs a kg. So it could absorb the air freight. So now all the saffron now from Afghanistan is coming via air, so you are adding 300, 400 rupees a kilo to cost, but you can still do that for this. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that for other products like figs and black raisins and all. But saffron now is coming by air, so prices have stabilized. There was a knee-jerk reaction where people thought that saffron we won't be able to bring it in. So that led to suddenly a very big increase in price. Now they've stabilized again, but it is still one of the most expensive spices, very aromatic, very healthy, and Indian consumption for saffron has been increasing at about, it's a large base already, and it's increasing at about 20% every year.
Hmm. Gunjan, I would say amla is something that people have been consuming for a very long time. Same goes for turmeric, but moringa is pretty new.
Yeah, moringa and all are still really, really on the upper echelons of the society. It's something more on, you'll find on online and very A-class stores. So moringa really hasn't really seen the base of Indian consumption. But all these things, moringa, I've seen now there's a tea coming from Amazon, Brazil nuts, all these exotic things which have now a great perceived health benefits are really seeing a big demand in India. I think even moringa in the next, moringa is one of the next things we'll see take off like pumpkin seeds, because now so much on the health on moringa is coming, especially on weight loss and all those things. So it's really adding up.
It is. I also want to get a sense on dates now because that's yet another thing that we import most of. How is the market right now currently and what has been the growth rate, Gunjan?
So again, I mean, right now in our segment, when it's nuts and dried fruits and seeds, everything is ballistic. Dates similar again now because of the health factor. Now dates used to be a very limited commodity. In North, it was limited to December and Jan when people would consume it. And for the rest of India, it was mainly a Ramadan thing that you would have dates for Ramadan. But that world has changed. We are seeing dates becoming a regular staple. We have seen now, even in August, September, July, the hottest months, we still don't see any relenting in the consumption of dates. India is now the largest consumer of dates in the world. India consumes close to about 400 to 450,000 tons of dates, and that I feel is a huge number. And the big thing that we are seeing a change in dates is that slowly the market is moving from the lower, cheaper variant to the higher variants. India will buy a date that is high, as expensive as 1,000 rupees to a 1,500 rupees a kilo to 700 rupees. So India is seeing a big rise in consumption of black dates, what we call. There are two classes. One is the Zahidi that you get, which is the retailed at about 100 rupees a kilo. Although that base is also rising, but surprisingly, uh, I mean, and not so surprisingly, actually, that's the India story. We are seeing now dates between the higher variety of dates, the consumptions, the Safawis, the Ajwa, the Medjool, which are like really, really high-end varieties. We are seeing huge rise in consumption.
I'm just getting the number right here, Gunjan. 450,000 tons of date per annum consumption is in India.
400 to 450, it ranges depending on world crops, how crops are there and everything. But yeah, it's reached that level. It peaked at that level.
All right. So even as the commodities are getting premium and pricier, the demand still continues to gain. I also want to get a sense on the value addition for many of these. I mean, I understand it's eaten raw. Some just take it in water, with water. But Rishab, for Makhanas as well, the value addition as a market or a segment has really gone ballistic. I'm just using the word that Gunjan used.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we've been exploring a lot of things with Makhana, and lately what we've done is we've created a chocolate Makhana shake. So basically, we just chocolate coat the Makhana, and then you just add milk to it. See, Makhana again, it's a little high calorie product, but again, it's got a lot of vitamins and minerals to it. So it's just not the calorie thing that we're looking at. We're looking at the other things as well, and again, everything in moderation is perfectly fine. And again, one of the main things about Makhana is that it doesn't really bloat you, so you can have quite some bit of it. And then this chocolate Makhana shake, and then people have done Makhana pasta with it. Now
Okay.
we're doing Makhana bhel also, where we have Makhanas and then we have multigrain chips and rice puffs. So that's how it's been incorporated, and a lot of these sweet guys use Makhana flour as their base in a lot of their desserts and sabjis and all. So we've pretty much used it before, and we've been using it since a long time.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Gunjan, what's your sense? Overall, superfoods and dry fruits, and then what is the value added market for this?
So the value added, the base is very small right now, but I think snacking, healthy snacking is the next story in India. So that's really increasing. It's growing the fastest. We are seeing so many. So just to quote you a figure, there were 1,200 new recipes where almonds were used as an ingredient. So that's the level of value addition that's happening. You're getting almond flour rotis now, high protein almond flour rotis. You're getting to defatted. There's demand now coming to us for stuff like defatted almond flours. We've just launched a range of defatted almond flours, nut butters, and all these in our brand Nutraj, because now we're seeing so much more. The market has now moved from just peanut butter to these healthy nut butters. And I mean, we are seeing so much more traction coming on these things. So I think value addition in the next 5 years, India will see a lot more of that, because that's the next phase of growth. We have started eating almonds, walnuts in the morning, raisins, figs dipped in the morning, but now I think it's becoming the 4 p.m. snack. More and more youngsters are getting used to the fact that at 4 p.m. you do not want to have an unhealthy snack. Let's have a healthy
Yes.
snack. I don't have anything against samosas and kachoris. I love them, but I think overall the youth of today are really getting into the health thing.
Oh, they absolutely are. But with that, gentlemen, it's time for a very short break. When we come back, we'll talk about the fragmentation that this market has, because there are a lot of smaller and larger players as well. And we'll also talk about the government support when it comes to superfoods, on what are the kind of regulations, certifications that we can perhaps see in this after this break.